Hey, this is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The teardown of the Oakland Raiders continued yesterday with the Raiders shipping Amari Cooper to the Dallas Cowboys. In exchange for a first-round pick, the Raiders now have 3 first-round picks in the 2019 draft. Cooper was the number 4 overall selection in the 2015 draft and had 22 catches for 280 yards and a touchdown in 6 games this season. He has 1 year left on his rookie deal. The Falcons beat the Giants 23-20 last night in Atlanta to wrap up Week 7 of the NFL season. The World Series starts tonight in Boston with Chris Sale of the Red Sox facing Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers. And the Kings are back in action tonight in Denver against the undefeated Nuggets. We'll have coverage of that game right here on Sports 1140, beginning with game night at 4:30, Kings live at 5:30, and tip-off with the G-Man set for 6 o'clock. Those are your top stories. And now it's back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're going to talk. Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
You know, I like our guys. From where we've come, first 2-3 days of training camp, to now we've made major improvements. We've got things to work on, certainly, but I like what I see, and we got a lot of guys minutes tonight, and minutes are going to come and go for different guys based on different things, but I saw some really good things offensively tonight, and I see certainly a lot of things defensively that can be learned through experience, and it just takes time as younger guys learn how to play against older guys, and not fired up about giving up 149, but I do like what I see from a lot of our guys.
That was Coach Dave Yeager after the Pelicans game. Liked what he saw, and that proved to be true as they went on to get their first victory of the season in Oklahoma City. There's only one team in California that does not have a win this season, and that is your Los Angeles Lakers, LOL. They lost in overtime last night at home to the San Antonio Spurs. LeBron James missed 2 free throws with 12 seconds left in overtime. The Lakers up 1. In the final.
They put the loss in Los Angeles.
Yeah, they did. There's a lot of L's going on. In the final 15 seconds of the fourth quarter in overtime, LeBron is 10 of 21 on free throws in a one-score game since the start of last season. That's 48% from the free throw line. That is the worst free throw percentage of any player with at least 10 free throws attempted in those situations. LeBron James, is he washed? We'll talk about that later. Looking ahead past Denver, the Kings come back home. They'll go tomorrow night against Memphis. First games at home after a road trip are always rough. Having your first game at home on a back-to-back after finishing your road trip in Denver is especially tough. And here's what Memphis did last night in Utah.
And that'll do it. Zeros on the clock. And the Grizzlies will get the win tonight on the road, 92-84 over the Utah Jazz.
Also, following the Grizzlies will be the Washington Wizards, the start of a handful of games against Eastern Conference foes. They were up in Portland. They, too, went to overtime with Damian Lillard and friends.
1-point game, Lillard scooting up court. Lillard crossing midcourt. Lillard driving, flips up the shot. It's blocked by Otto Porter. Otto Porter blocks it, and the Wizards win. Otto Porter blocks Damian Lillard's shot as he was driving to the basket, and the Wizards win 125-124.
From the 916, you can't spell Los Angeles without 3 L's. Yeah, you actually do.
You can't spell Los Angeles Lakers without 3 L's.
Right. I used that joke last night, but this guy says you can't spell Los Angeles without 3 L's, and he spelled Los Angeles correctly. It's not like he put an extra L in there. And it's right in front of you, guy. Check your texts. So, a couple of opponents coming home for the Kings to Golden One Center that had good nights last night on the road. When it comes to their opponent tonight, Michael Malone and the Denver Nuggets, the Nuggets are 3-0 on the year. They lead the NBA in points allowed. Their wins have come in L.A. against the Clippers. At home, they blew out the Suns. And then a big victory for the Golden State Warriors, or against the Golden State Warriors, I'm sorry.
A fun game.
It was a fun game, especially if you're not a Warrior fan. It was a very fun game. And Michael Malone getting an extension on his contract, which is well-deserved. He has that team turned around.
Good coach.
He is a good coach. He is a good coach. Good to see he's doing well in Denver. 2 of the remaining 5 undefeated teams are in the Western Conference. So let's be honest, kids. The game tonight, and with the caveat that we said similar things about Oklahoma City in that game, and then when we found out Russell Westbrook was coming back, it was a collective sigh from Kings fans. So stranger things have absolutely happened, but again, you can only preview a game based on logic. Denver coming in as a double-digit favorite. That's the biggest in the league tonight. Denver favored by 11 points. Look at these over-unders. My goodness, Clippers and Pelicans 238, and that might be a soft one. That might be low.
So, Haley O'Shaughnessy of The Ringer tweeted last night, if there's anything I've learned after 3 games in the NBA, it's to bet the over until Vegas figures it out.
Pretty much. It's not a bad plan.
They still haven't adjusted for it at all.
227 Kings and Nuggets.
That 114, 113?
Now, to be fair, I'm not – the Clippers-Pelicans over-under is something I'd go for. This one, I don't know. I'll tell you why. Denver is allowing right now, again, we talked about it, the lowest points at 95.7 in the whole league.
I went to raise my hand and then realized that we're on camera now, so me raising my hand would probably look a little silly. So then I went to put it back down, and it made me look like I was going, Dave.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
It's early season Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got teams going in there.
And two of their games have been at home.
Gassed.
It's a great point.
I think their defensive numbers will regress a little bit at some point. However, with the Kings on the 3rd game of this road trip, I'm not exactly sure it's going to be tonight. So yeah, I'm with you.
Logic would dictate this is going to be a really – now, Will Barton's out. He's having surgery. You don't like to see that, and I love Will Barton. He is out. But this is just a tough matchup for the Kings. And as you said, really a big part of it. We just got done talking about this with the Raiders in Denver to start their season or early in their season. But you're ending a road trip. Now, you've had a couple days to rest. But now you go into Denver, and this is not when you want to go into Denver. This is a really difficult stretch where you go Denver to finish a trip, and then back-to-back Memphis at home the following night where you're going to get bruised up a little bit on the inside. And Memphis, although they have a bad loss this year, Memphis does not look anything like they did last year because of those injuries. They've got health now.
Speaking of teams who look better than they did last year, remember yesterday when I was like, the Magic suck. The Magic beat the Celtics last night.
In Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. and you're going to see some of this. It's every year you see it.
Yeah, and it's basketball. If you're cold one night and the other team's hot, like it doesn't matter who's on the court. No. They're NBA players.
I mean, the 3 undefeated teams left in the Eastern Conference are the Raptors. Okay. Understand that. The Bucks. And the Pistons, though. Here's the thing. You know, I'll give credit to some people. The Pistons I saw pop up on a lot of people's charts because of the health of Griffin and Drummond. A lot of people popped them up and said, hey, this Pistons team could surprise some people. They're not going to win any titles, but they may get themselves in those playoffs, no problem. Again, it's so early. Point differential for the Sacramento Kings is another thing we're keeping an eye on, again, through 3 games. But point differential for the Kings, -5. That's not bad.
No.
It's not bad. It's certainly not plus 19.5 like the Pelicans, but a lot of that 19.5 came against the Sacramento Kings.
Right. And they beat the Rockets pretty soundly.
They destroyed the Rockets. The Pelicans only played 2 games so far, and both of them they blew out the opponent. So, again, lowered expectations for tonight.
They've only played 2 games still?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, the Pelicans have only played 2 games in Houston. And
the Warriors have played 4.
Mm-hmm. They play tonight against the Clippers at home. The Pelicans do. So, not real much more to extrapolate there. What you're looking for now is you're looking to see. I'm very curious to see the Willie Cauley-Stein matchup down low, and how he and Bagley and Giles are able to handle what is a tremendous player, Nikola Jokic. You also have Paul Millsap there, who routinely abuses the Kings. It's just a very crafty type of dude. Whether it's a Millsap, a Horford, a LaMarcus Aldridge, those guys always give the Kings fits down low. We'll also be with Will Barton out. Will be very interesting to see. I'm curious as to the battle of the backcourt. So you have Jamal Murray and Gary Harris, and you're going to have some form of a De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield sort of rotation in there. Iman Shumpert, Yogi Ferrell. That's going to be that's where, if the Kings have any chance, if they can just simply contain Millsap and Jokic from having insane triple-double games, I'm talking about Jokic, and they can win that battle of the backcourt, okay, well, they've got a fighting shot. But look for this game to be either a blowout from the jump for the Nuggets, or relatively close for the first 2.5, 3 quarters. And then, like we said yesterday, you're probably going to start seeing free throws bounce off the front of the rim. You're going to see some air balls. You're going to see some very, very tired legs, because you are not a slow-down team. You are a team that is second in the league in pace. Now, try to do that in the Mile High City.
Yeah, when you're not in full game condition yet, when you're playing your first game in Denver, you haven't spent any time there.
No.
It's tough.
We'll take a break. In case you missed it, this happened.
LeBron James on the left wing. Step back, long two. That shot is off the rim, though. Good. Rebound fought for. It goes out of bounds. This ball game is over. The Spurs have won a wild game in overtime. San Antonio wins it 143 to 142.
I love these talking head morning shows. Did LeBron choke last night? Yeah, man. He missed a couple big free throws. That's the definition. He did. Nobody was playing defense.
My favorite thing this year so far is Laker fan going off after last night. I tweeted a couple of the threads. There's one Laker fan
so good,
legit wants LeBron traded while you can get a good price for him.
So good,
because he's washed. We'll break. When we come back, 4 down territory. We've got our weekly awards right here on the Drive. Sports 1140 KHTK.
First down.
4 down territory brought to you by Fire Wings.
Fire Wings.
21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. 21 different flavors that Kyle's tried all of them.
Tried all of them. I need them to introduce new flavors or something, so I can have more flavors to try.
What if they started Fire Wings Random Mix, where you just ordered the random mix and it was just, random, here's mango curry, or peanut butter and Peking.
Ugh.
I don't know.
No.
Well, but
No.
how many people said to peanut butter?
Good point.
3 years in a row, bud.
You're saying those are 2 delightful flavors that I don't think would work well together.
3 W's. It's the first question, or first down.
Who was your MVP of the weekend?
A lot of candidates here. I'm going to go goofy on this one. I admit that this isn't the right call, but I think it's the correct call. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen. He had a touchdown.
Okay.
9 catches, 110 yards.
Okay.
But we haven't awarded him anything this year.
Okay.
And he's not only a tremendous story, but he's been the best receiver in football this year.
All right.
A week after week after week, Adam Thielen comes in, this walk-on, this guy that barely clung to the Vikings roster, has come in and just killed it. I'm cheating here. I'm giving Thielen the award. It's a cumulative award. I admit there are other better recipients. But for me, I feel like I have to give him something at some point. He's had 5 100-yard games, 400-yard games in a row. I'm giving it to this kid.
Okay. I'm giving it to Todd Gurley. Because okay. I know we've talked about him before today, but I don't think he's won one yet. And I think it's about time he gets recognized, because what he does for that Rams offense, They were missing Cooper Kupp, who is one of Jared Goff's favorite targets. They didn't have a receiver go over 80 yards against the Niners, but they still dominated because of Todd Gurley's ability to chip away at a defensive front. There wasn't a lot for him early, but he just grinded that defensive front down. He scored 3 touchdowns and eventually started gashing them late. And just what he does for their offense is extremely unique. So Jared Goff, not Jared Goff, but Todd Gurley gets it for me.
Second down.
Second down.
Who was your rookie of the weekend?
A couple of decent choices. I thought about going with old Bradley Chubb, but it was 2 sacks. He had 3 total tackles, 2 sacks. It shows up on the screen because of those 2 sacks, and that's a fine choice. I'm going to give it to Kerryon Johnson because he went 19 carries, $158. He added 21 yards through the air. Who cares?
That's the right answer.
This is a guy that, had 70 yards last week. He broke the streak. And remember, the Lions hadn't had a 100-yard rusher since Reggie Bush. And now Kerryon Johnson's done it twice in 3 weeks. He goes for $158, and that's with LeGarrette Blount behind him and hounding on those touchdowns. That probably should have been Johnson's. The kid's been fantastic. He's revitalized that Lions running game. So I'm going to give it to old KJ.
Kerryon Johnson is the correct answer. His 158 yards were the most by a Lions running back since Javid Best in 2011.
Wow.
His 8.32 yards per carry were the second most by a Lions running back since Barry Sanders had, Javid Best, that game that we just talked about, averaged over 13 yards a carry, but Kerryon Johnson's 8.3 yards per carry were the most since Barry Sanders in 1997.
Who?
Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders. God, I remember Javid Best.
I know. We're obscure names.
Was he like
it's
in the 40s?
It's the Lions running backs.
I got you.
They've never had a good running back. So he had just one of the best rushing games for the Lions in quite a while. So Kerryon Johnson's the right answer.
Okay, third down.
Who was your defensive player of the year of the weekend?
I dare you to tell me it wasn't Aaron Donald. Four sacks.
Yeah, it was Aaron Donald. I was there.
Tackles.
He had a sack. He had one sack where he drove the center, Weston Richburg, back into C.J. Beathard so hard that it knocked Beathard over.
Poor Weston Richard.
Didn't make him stumble.
Yeah.
He slammed the center so hard into the quarterback that the quarterback fell.
When you're using other players, when you're using offensive linemen to beat up the quarterback, that's when you know you're strong. Not only do you have 4 sacks, not only do you have 9 tackles, he had 6 tackles for loss.
Unreal.
He got to the quarterback 5 times. He's a video game.
Oh, and a forced fumble and fumble recovery where he
that.
just sunned Matt Breida and took the ball away.
There's that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Aaron Donald, your defensive player of the year of
That's
the week.
why he gets a blank check.
Fourth down.
Fourth down.
What's your feel-good story from Week 7?
Oh gosh, this is tough. I'm again kind of like my MVP going to Adam Thielen. I'm going to go with something goofy here. I'm going with the Chiefs. 45-10 over the Bengals. I'm really happy for Chiefs fans. I don't know why. I think it's probably subconsciously because Joe Montana played for them. I've often had a soft spot for the Chiefs, and yes, if you're a Raider fan, I understand you growling right now, but I'm not a Raider fan. I'm a Niner fan. The Chiefs don't affect me at all. I've never had a reason to dislike them, and I actually have a couple friends. Brandon Bitar, our sales manager, is a diehard Chiefs fan. I've got an ex-roommate of mine, Pat, who is from that area, Springfield, Missouri, flies back a couple times a year with his dad and has since he was a little kid to go see Chiefs games at Arrowhead. I like this. Now, have we seen this before, whether it's the Jamal Charles Chiefs or the Priest Holmes Chiefs? Have we seen the Chiefs start out like gangbusters and end up, falling out in the second round of the playoffs? It just doesn't feel like that this year. We worry about that defense, but they faced a Bengals team that was 4-2 coming into this game, and they absolutely demolished them. Good for them. My feel-good story of the week is Chiefs fans.
I am going with the Colts and Bills game. The Bills came in 2-5. The Bills came in 2-4. The Colts came in 1-5. The Colts won that game 37-5. It was the first 37-5 finish in NFL history.
Are you following, what's the Twitter account?
Scoregami?
Yeah, I just found that over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, Scoregami's great.
Where they post, all the scores that have ever happened, and then when a score happens that's never happened before, it's a Scoregami.
Right.
And so that there was that one over the weekend. That's it.
It's another interesting score fact, which real quick, I thought it was super funny that the NFL decided to put Chiefs-Bengals in prime time instead of Niners-Rams, and Chiefs-Bengals was the only game on Sunday that was a bigger blowout than Niners-Rams.
Let me ask you a question from a perspective of no dog in the fight. Did you think the Rams and Niners was more entertaining?
No, because they didn't feature Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It was I'm not saying they shouldn't have flexed the Niners-Rams game out. That was the right decision.
It was a bigger
just
blowout.
Funny. You had the Eagles-Panthers game. Cowboys-Washington was close. You had who else? Did I say Patriots-Bears was close? You had all these games they could have picked, and they picked one of the biggest blowouts of the weekend. I thought that was a little bit funny.
We'll take a break. When we come back, 7:35, we'll get to the Amari Cooper trade. Also, Blake Bortles update in Jacksonville. We'll go around the NFL, and we'll hit a sport that we don't ever hit, and sometimes we make fun of, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to go to the WWE when we get back, and some news out of there that doesn't follow a storyline whatsoever, although there is a storyline to it, and we hope that storyline has a very happy ending. We'll explain to you what we mean next right here on The Drive, Sports 1140 KHTK.
Hi, this is Kyle Madson, and I have your top stories on Sports 1140. The teardown of the Raiders continued yesterday with the Raiders shipping Amari Cooper to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for a first-round pick. Cooper was the number 4 overall selection in the 2015 draft. He had 22 catches for 280 yards and a touchdown in 6 games this season. He has 1 year left on his rookie contract. Nothing on this? That's fine. You're not listening. All right. The Falcons beat the Giants 23-20 last night in Atlanta. No, it's fine. No, you're prepping. It's fine. I see. The Falcons beat the Giants 23-20 last night in Atlanta to wrap up Week 7 of the NFL season. Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers are in Boston tonight to face Chris Sale and the Red Sox. That's Game 1 of the World Series. And the Kings are back in action tonight in Denver against the undefeated Denver Nuggets. We'll have coverage for you right here on Sports 1140, beginning with Game Night at 4:30, Kings Live at 5:30, and tip-off with the G-Man set for 6 o'clock. Those are your top stories, and now it's back to The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
All right, a lot of stuff to cover in this segment. I want to remind you, the final hour, 8 to 9, we'll have a couple things for you. Matt Barrows will join us as he does regularly at 8:05 to wrap up the Niners weekend. Greg Vaughn, our old friend, former Brewer, amongst other teams, an all-around good guy. He's got a charity golf tournament coming up and a comedy show. We want to say hello to him, plug those things because it's for a good cause. And then also talk to him about the World Series starting tonight. From the 916, I don't care what the numbers say for analytics today. That coach sounds stupid going for 2 instead of the extra point. Philosophy screwed him over. We're talking about Shermer going for 2 instead of tying it up at 7. I think that's what he said, that coach. Pretty sure that's what he's referring to. And if you're wondering if that was a stupid play, it was. It's even stupider when you're in New York and you got to deal with that fishbowl. And they're not going to win. And then the timeout situation at the end, they're running the clock. You give it to Eli Manning twice in a row for quarterback sneaks. You have Saquon Barkley in your backfield, and you're just running down the clock. Yeah, you got in. You went for 2. Good for you. But at some point, maybe you kick the field goal, and then onside kick it. You're going to have to anyway, save clock.
Yeah, not sure what the objective was.
I forget the team that did this or that's doing this. But if I'm an NFL owner or a GM, I'm either assigning an assistant coach to this or I'm creating a position.
Okay.
That is nothing but being an expert on clock and situational management. And I understand that that should be a head coach's job, but I also understand that head coaches have a lot going on, and some more than others. You have a guy that is a walking, talking encyclopedia of what to do in each situation. Do I call a timeout here? When do I call a timeout? Do I go for two? Do I stop and kick a field goal and then onside kick it? Somebody that understands and whose sole job is to understand these positions. Screw it. Bring him on and pay him $80,000 a year. You don't have to do anything but know these. You just chill out on the sidelines. You get great seats. Wear a headset, and when it comes down to it in those situations, you pipe up. We need to go for two here. Kick the field goal. Yeah, call timeout right now.
Sean McVay and I think a couple other coaches have a clock management coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was McVay. And by the way, McVay's probably the one guy who could do it on his own, but he's smart enough to have a guy who's specifically there for clock management. Why every team doesn't have this, I don't know.
Dude, give that guy what that guy $100,000?
I was just saying you could pay him $80,000 and let him stand on the sideline, grab some kid out of college. Who cares?
Yeah, there's too many little scenarios where having somebody who is just dedicated to not worried about who's on the field or what formations or anything like that. They're just going, okay, there's X amount of time left. We have this many timeouts. Hey, we need to call a timeout now.
Sure.
Or, hey, save this timeout because we have the 2-minute warning coming up or whatever.
Makes no sense to me, man. And then you have a situation like that last night where the head coach of the New York Giants just crapped the bed on Monday Night Football.
There's a philosophy, a football philosophy, and maybe we have a high school coach listening or something who knows somebody who does this. But there's a philosophy I've seen that some high schools use where they always go for two, and they never punt, or they only punt in like the instances they punt are super rare.
I think that's called Madden philosophy.
Oh, yeah. That's Madden.
Madden. It's what you do in the video game.
Yeah, like if they have like a 4th and 18 and they're backed up at their own 5 or whatever.
You punt it.
But there's so few instances where they give the ball back to the other team on a punt, where it's like the risk reward of trying to go for it is not that much different than giving the ball to them at X spot or whatever.
I want to remind everybody you can watch as well as listen to this program. You can listen to us on the KH2K app, both live and on demand. Also, same thing with the video cast now, provided by Jiffy Lube and the Sac Republic. Go to KH2K.com, top right of the screen if you're on a desktop, middle of the screen if you're on a phone or a tablet, and go to the KH2K YouTube channel, and you can check out each hour-by-hour archived. Wonderful job by Eunice and the entire digital team. All right, we're going to do something we never do here for just a quick segment. We have a lot of stuff to cover here before 7:55. We're going to go to the world of WWE. And I know you probably think, well, we're going to start goofing on stuff. I'm not a WWE guy. I know Damian and Jason and Chris are in the middays, and God bless them for it. But I don't have a problem with it. You know, I'm not one of those guys that wants it shut down or really. I can look into that crowd and make fun of people, but you can do that at a football game as well. I very much acknowledge, though, these men and women in the WWE are athletes, and I don't think that's an argument. Whether or not it's a sport, it's not a sport. It's a scripted thing, but they are athletes, and in many cases, role models. Kings fans may know Roman Reigns, even if you're not a WWE guy, from the commercial where he's singing the teacup song, and then he falls down on the floor with what appears to be his daughter and talks about spending time with your kid. You know, again, it's a role model type thing. You may, if you've watched Kings games, odds are you've seen that commercial. Last night on Monday Night Raw, Roman Reigns kicked off the broadcast with what was not scripted. This is not a scripted storyline. This is where real life gets into the script, and you can't write this stuff.
It's a lie, because the reality is my real name is Joe. And I've been living with leukemia for 11 years. And unfortunately, it's back. And because the leukemia is back, I cannot fulfill my role. I can't be that fighting champion. And I'm gonna have to relinquish the Universal Championship. I'm not gonna lie, I'll take every prayer you can send my way, but I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for you to feel bad for me, because I have faith. When I was 22 years old, I was diagnosed with this. And very quickly, I was able to put it in remission. But I'm not gonna lie, that was the hardest time of my life. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money. I didn't have a home. And I had a baby on the way. And football was done with me. But you wanna know who gave me a chance? The team that gave me a chance was the WWE.
No, that was something that made it out and across normal sports lines there, and it should have. Listen, like it or not, the WWE is a massive business, and the crossover between WWE and your classic sports fans, which is your men 18-34, men 25-54 demographic, is massive. You have a lot of people that watch sports and are huge sports fans and listen to sports radio who also watch the WWE. There's a lot of kids that look up to this guy. So, and me even not being a WWE fan, I've heard of him. I could pick him out of a lineup. And even if I wasn't a WWE fan and I couldn't pick him out of a lineup, leukemia is nothing to joke about. Leukemia is that's no fun. So, listen, not like he's going to hear it, but shout out to Roman Reigns for. I like that he didn't release a statement. I like that he got up there, and you could tell the crowd, and I don't blame them for this. Like, you heard people shouting, and you know, they didn't know what to do. You're used to seeing these crazy storylines, and I'm sure in the heat of the moment, there's probably some people going, "Oh my God, is this a storyline? Like, what are they doing?" And they're reacting. But then, as you saw him speak, and I invite you to watch the video online, you saw people in the audience with real tears. It was a very emotional moment, the guy going up there. And again, he's a real role model. Right? And I would just bet that there were more than a few kids last night that have either suffered or are suffering through leukemia or some form of cancer. And if in addition to that, there's going to be a lot more today. And I think a lot of them are going to watch this big, giant behemoth of a man, this larger-than-life champion, in something that they watch, that they get entertainment out of, that is now going to embark yet again on this fight that he's been dealing with for 11 years. And he's going to provide them, I hope, knock on wood, he's going to provide them a lot of motivation. So just I don't really know where to go with that, other than I felt like we should play it and shout out to him. And certainly hope, he said he could take every prayer thrown his way. Well, no problem there. And hopefully we have a happy ending. Hopefully that storyline, that real-life storyline, ends, or the next chapter is the triumphant return of a very healthy and clean bill of health, Roman Reigns. Kyle, your Golden State Warriors made somebody a lot of money. Guy had a 10-team parlay. $2. $2 is what he bet on that. And when Golden State's Jonas Jerebko tipped in the game.
Jonas Jerebko.
Nope.
Thank you.
Nope.
Jonas.
Nope. You know why? He's got a J.
Because he hit so many J's.
Yeah, there you go. He tipped in a game winner against the Utah Jazz. He helped clinch the win because not only did the Warriors win, but the game total went over 217.5.
Oh, wow.
Guy goes from losing $2 on a 10-team parlay to winning $1,237.70. How about that? Speaking of betting, last night, that last-minute cover, or the New York Giants last-second cover, where they got the touchdown and the two-point conversion. This is why Vegas has very shiny things. With that backdoor cover, the 108 William Hill Sportsbooks in Nevada had 73% of the money on that game go from winners to losers.
Wow. That's incredible.
Have you ever watched a big sporting matchup in a sports book?
Oh, no.
I figured you probably watched a big sporting matchup. If you've never watched a sporting event in a sports book, I'm talking about a big one, where it's packed, it is surreal because the final score of who wins the game does not matter.
You know what? I take that back. Not in a sports book.
Okay.
But we go to a big Super Bowl party every year in Reno. This 3,000 person party in this big ballroom.
Peppermill.
Yeah, at the Peppermill. Love the P Mill. Love the Peppermill.
You like Patty Mills?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's money riding on a lot there. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, from the time the coin toss, people cheer. The national anthem finishes up under a minute 58 or whatever, people cheer. First reception happens. There's people excited and disappointed on every play because there are parlays and prop bets being blown up on every play.
Yeah.
So yes, sort of. One of my sports bucket list items, aside from going to Fenway Park and Wrigley Field and all that, is to watch a first round day at March Madness at a sports book.
That is something I want to do as well.
Just that day where the games tip off at 9 a.m. Pacific,
right.
And the last one tips off at 6 o'clock.
And as much as I enjoy, no, I take that back. As much as I hate Vegas, I would. That's something I'd really like to do in Vegas. Also, Forbes has ranked the most valuable esports franchises. The most valuable esports franchises. Kyle, would you like to take a guess as to the value of the most valuable esports franchise?
Most valuable esports franchise. $812 million.
Jeez. That's a little high.
I was thinking low, but then I thought that maybe you were asking because it's exorbitantly high. And so I aimed just shy of $1 billion.
I think it's still surprising. The Cloud9 group.
I would have actually guessed something like $2 million.
$310 million.
Wow.
$310 million. 8 esports franchises are now worth more than $100 million.
That's bananas.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's esports. It's not bananas. Bananas are a fruit, Kyle. Would you like to hear Booger McFarland talking about peeing?
No.
Okay, here we go.
Lisa says, don't worry about Odell. Nothing but a bathroom break. What?
Back in my day, Ted, we would do that on the sideline. I didn't need to go to the back for that. We just kind of sit down on the bench and you do your business and move on. That's what we did.
Boog, that's too much information.
No, it's not. No, seriously. No, listen. All these diva wide receivers wanted to go to the bathroom. As a defensive lineman, we didn't go to the bathroom. You sat on the bench, did your business, and you got up.
Oh, boy.
That's real.
It's so bad.
I mean, that's just real.
It's so bad, dude.
Back in my day, we pooped on the bench.
I wish we had the clip queued up of when Travis Kelce took a helmet to the sternum, and Booger's like, "Yeah, you just got to toughen up."
Yes, I remember us playing that.
Like, what?
Got to toughen up.
Dude. Okay, look. I try really, really hard to not put broadcasts on blast.
Why? If anybody puts a broadcast on blast, shouldn't it be us because we understand the business and, respect these guys?
And that's why I often don't, because it's you know what? A guy says something wrong. Maybe he was given bad information.
I don't care about that.
It was
I'm with you.
That kind of stuff. So I don't harp on the little tiny details that they go, oh, he said a gain of 11. It was only a gain of 10.
That's dumb.
No, relax, dude. He just saw the spot of the ball wrong. It's whatever. But the Monday Night Football broadcast is unlistenable.
Today's drive question of the day: which would you rather listen to, the Monday Night Football broadcast or Players Only? Players only. That's tough.
It's Jason Witten is not good at color commentary yet. Maybe he'll get there. But there's a clear pacing, and he just doesn't. You can tell he has not paid attention to a lot of color commentary in his life, which is fine. Like, he's been playing since he was super young and has probably been absorbed in other things.
Booger McFarland, I think, would be fine on a mid-level Sunday broadcast team as an analyst.
Why is he on the field?
I don't, because, why? Truthfully, because somebody who makes more money than both of us put together plus Eunice is getting paid way too much to make innovative decisions so that they can justify having their job.
All he does is watch the game on TV.
That's exactly what it's basically a broadcast with an addition of players only. It's Joe Tessitore with players only. I think what they're trying to do is almost go for the Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Charles type of thing, but you have to have – I like Joe Tessitore. I do. I think he does a good job with what he's got to do.
It's a little overexcited sometimes, but that's fine.
I agree. But I when I look at that broadcast, I don't point to Joe Tessitore and go, that's the problem.
Right. Although every Odell Beckham Jr. reception last night sounded like they just won the Super Bowl.
I know.
Oh, and there he is again. All right, let's chill.
There he is again, and the score at halftime, 3-0.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's. I got to go back to. I got to go back to Booger McFarland though. That's just great content. God bless Booger McFarland.
Lisa says, "Don't worry about Odell. Nothing but a bathroom break."
These diva wide receivers.
Back in my day, Ted, we would do that on the sideline. I didn't need to go to the back for that. We just kind of sit down on the bench and you do your business and move on. That's what I did.
Boog, that's too much information.
No, it's not. No, seriously. No, listen. All these diva wide receivers wanted to go to the bathroom. As a defensive lineman, we didn't go to the bathroom. You sat on the bench, did your business, and you got up.
When I played, they brought over a brown tent. They put it over me.
The kids these days with their bathroom. We never even went to the bathroom. Huh?
I used to wipe with a first down marker. Yeah. Steve, isn't there 4-ply?
You're not peeing on an opponent. You're not trying.
Just so bad. Like, I don't mind the story. Mark Schlereth is famous for that.
Right, that's why his name is Stink.
Yes.
I was alerted to that fact last night.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that's why they called him that. Yeah.
Good for you admitting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they called him Stank. Because he stunk.
I love that Joe Tessitore goes, it's a little bit too much information. And Booger's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Dude, Joe.
Listen to my bathroom habits.
Joe, it's not. And Joe, why would you be surprised at somebody named Booger sharing their bathroom habits? His name is Booger. I mean, honestly, if you're going into a broadcast booth with a guy named Booger, Snot, Dingleberry, Cheese,
Stink, Carmichael.
Hi, I'm Joe Tessitore, joined by Jason Witten and Farty McGee. Shocker.
Farty, we're going to talk about a bathroom thing. Don't say anything heinous.
Not at all. Don't did you say heinous?
Yeah.
Okay.
Farty, don't blow up the broadcast.
Joined here now by Jason Witten and Recty McFarty Pants. Recty.
You know what I don't like about McFarty Pants?
What's that?
He keeps gassing these players up.
Unbelievable. I mean, from the 916, is he saying they just won on themselves or what? Yeah. And that's the truth. That's what Schlereth and a lot of you can't go to the bathroom during games. They would literally pee their pants like Miles Davis. That's
like me right now.
Right now. Now the text line's getting involved. We peed in a Gatorade bottle and we drank it.
Necessary? Was it necessary for me to drink my own urine?
Yes!
No, but it's sterile and I like the taste.
I'm sorry, Joe, that Booger crossed the line on the broadcast.
Shocked that Booger would say that.
Matthew Barrows. Well,
Booger McFartland.
Exactly. I mean, God bless him. But when you're dealing with a booger, things can get sticky. We'll take a break. When we get back, Matt Barrows on the drive.
Hey, ESPN did pick Booger.
They did. He was the one picked. They picked a winner right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. We're right back.
Michael.